There you go. Well, cheers.
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you too. And today on A Beer with Starlo, I'm joined by Andrew Mayo, who'll be familiar to quite a few kingfishers. He's been in the business for a long time. What's your earliest fishing memories?
I think a lot of it goes back to family camping trips. New South Wales South Coast. We spent a lot of time over Christmases and Easters fishing places like Tathra, Pambula, Eden, Durras, north of Bateman's Bay. Mum and Dad were angling enthusiasts. They certainly weren't experts, but really resourceful. And I rarely remember us coming home fishless.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just bread and butter fishing. I spent so much time on the Tathra wharf chasing, sweep and yellowtail, and if you're lucky, you might get a silver trevally. But Bega River is another fond memory for me.
So, do you remember your first fish?
I actually can't. A lot of people say they can. It is interesting, isn't it? I mean, most of my memories are around, I think, sort of the situation and the scenario.
Yeah.
That Bega River certainly burns quite brightly in the memory banks. We used to fish off the bridge with hand lines. We rarely had rods. I think we had 2 rods, and there were 3 kids. I'm the youngest of 3, and generally ended up with a hand line. And I can remember Dad coming home one time prior to one of these trips, and he was quite excited because one of his work colleagues had given him the good oil on a gun tailor rig. And it was a 3-hook rig, which I know now is a ganged hook rig. Right. We didn't know that at the time. And Dad conjured up this rig which involved a store-bought wire trace, of course, and 3 hooks clipped to that trace horizontally. So, and then to which we'd pin a frogmouth pilly or a glassy, because that was probably better value than a pack of blue pillies. And I can remember lowering this frogmouth pilly into the depths of the Bega River off the bridge and watching it spiral in the most unattractive fashion, but we smashed the tail. And so we thought we were kings of the world. And maybe that's just a reflection of fish stocks or the fact that fish weren't
in those days. There were probably more fish around, and they probably weren't as smart. So when did it go from being just a family pastime to a bit of a passion for you?
Teenage years. I started fishing the rocks probably when I was 15, 16. Mates who were more experienced involved me in their expeditions, and that was spinning for tailor, salmon. Bonito were always the prize. We plucked a few mac tuna at times, but I reckon around that sort of 15, 16 age, the hook started to go in. I was devouring every bit of fishing literature I could find. Modern fishing world. There were some really early, fishing encyclopedias that I devoured, and I think that really, fueled that passion and that enthusiasm. I mean, I hadn't caught a queenfish or a tarpon, but I could tell you exactly what they were just from reading through these publications.
And how did that lead into photography and you ending up as the editor of Modern Fishing?
I actually think about that a little bit. It's this long and winding road, and you wonder how you end up in a certain situation. I sent a submission to Gil Schott, who was editor of Saltwater Fishing magazine. This was 98, 99. So Gil was editor of Fishing World, I think, from 90 to 95, thereabouts, prior to Jim Harnwell, I think, who took over in 96. And Gil had set up Saltwater Fishing, and I loved that magazine. I had a team of writers who I really aspired to. Some of those old school people like Blue Phillips, Phil Atkinson, I think even in the early days. David Green was, he's got such an excellent fishing mind, and so that's where I sent my first submission, and Gil, much to my surprise, accepted this submission, and even better, he actually paid me for it. Which was great. It was $80 a page was my pay rate in that when that feature ran, and it ran, and I know exactly when it ran. It ran the July issue, 1999 of Saltwater Fishing, and ran to 7 pages. It might have been short of material, I'm not sure. but anyway, that really fueled that passion and enthusiasm, and the momentum built, and I didn't miss an issue of saltwater for a couple of years. And Gil was, I actually owe Gil a lot. He was incredibly supportive.
Yep.
You know, I'd ring him and I must have driven him nuts, you know, asking him, just pressing the flesh on photography, and I don't know, how to get work published more regularly, or how can I take this to the next level. And
you're in the process of packing up. You're about to head off on another one of your fishing sabbaticals, and I really like this concept where you go and immerse yourself in something for an extended period of time. You're headed to the far north coast of New South Wales, and your target species is the mulloway or jewfish, and you've done this before. What have you got out of investing such an intensive period of time into focusing on one species?
So I've been fortunate for quite a long time to have been able to take extended fishing trips. I don't know how I've pulled off this masquerade in life.
You've done well. It's everybody's dream.
But I think back, so in '95 I spent a month on Cape York with, you know, my best mate Etienne DeSellis, and we took mountain bikes with us. We flew to the west coast of the Cape. We cleaned up, you know, we had some brilliant fishing, and that's 24 years ago. We only did that after reading, you know, Warren Steptoe's Pedal Power pieces in '93 and later, and we had a month to do that. And I can remember, you know, chatting about this with Etienne at the time, and we were so excited about getting 2 cracks at a moon phase, you know, the full moon and the new moon, and then the tide variations between those 2 moons. And when I look back through the diary, if we'd gone up for a fortnight, we might have been skunked, or we certainly wouldn't have had the results that we had. We then did that trip again 4 years later in 1999, and it still stands, I think, as probably the best fishing I've had in my life. It was all DIY. We didn't have a guide. Etienne had spent a fair bit of time up the Cape in 93, 94 it would have been. So he drove a lot of the knowledge, and I really drew heavily on him. But that's in that environment when you're, you know, 20, in your early 20s or late teens, you're a sponge, and you soak up so much, so much knowledge. And then, you know, in later years, as in post university, I don't think it's a coincidence we ended up going to Lismore in northern New South Wales. It's 20 minutes from Ballina. Evans Head's down the road, Yamba's not far away, and we would either be surfing or fish, and we'd rig our university timetable so that we could be, you know, in the water at first light for either a surf or a fish. If the surf was pumping, we'd surf. If the fish were there, we'd fish.
Okay, you've caught a lot of fish. You've fished in a lot of places. You've caught a lot of species. Everyone has bucket lists. What's still to be ticked off your bucket list?
Yeah, that's a really good question, isn't it?
And on the dewy front, what's the magic mark? You've caught some pretty big ones. What's your PB?
That was a 140 centimetre fish. That was a nice one, yeah.
What's the dream fish? What's the unicorn when it comes to mulloway?
Oh, you know what, I think now, for me, and it's a bit of a cliche that gets trotted out on social media, that any cod or any Jew is a good Jew, but I actually think that that's exactly how I feel. I don't care if I don't beat that PB. I've really made an effort to just enjoy all of those fish, and it's a bit of a cliche, and you know, a 30 centimetre Jew, sometimes those really cute.
And when they're fin perfect and scale perfect at 45 centimetres, and you might get a big one that's a bit tatty and got split fins, and you know, there's something about that little perfect fish, isn't there, that just sticks in you.
And you wonder how they then transform into this, you know, behemoth potentially. And
well, you're doing too much talking and not enough drinking. I'll drink to all fish being good fish. What do you reckon about the crankshaft, mate?
Oh, it's delicious.